There's nothing clean about coal.
Increased haze,
asthma, 1,000 pounds of lead,
respiratory problems,
dirty air,
devastating impact,
developmental delay in children,
heavy metals,
loss of IQ,
mercury issues,
negative impact,
economic consequences,
biggest job killer,
bad trade,
terrible impact on the Chesapeake Bay,
650-foot smokestack,
19 million pounds of nitrogen,
higher than the Washington Monument,
Going backwards instead of forward.
the same height as the St. Louis Arch,
degradation of air quality in Hampton Roads,
lung cancer,
draconian measures,
cardiac death,
pretty sad.
premature deaths.
please help. Once it's in, the damage is done.
This is a human health hazard.
Air doesn't know boundaries.
This coal has a devastating impact from cradle to grave.
My biggest fear is that you have a community of people who don't seem to know what it is that they're agreeing to.
It's going to really change the tourist atmosphere.
It will also impact property values. There are many studies that show the larger the coal plant, the more regional property values decline.
You look regionally, it could very well be a net loss when you look at the impact that this plant could have on the economy of the region.
It also impacts vegetation, trees and crops, and has impact on buildings. It will decay, especially some of the old historic buildings that we have in this part of the state.
This farm where we're standing was my grandfather's farm, where my father was raised. I enjoy this environment. I enjoy growing things here on the farm. If it's certainly hurting stone and vinyl, so forth, it's certainly going to hurt these leaves on my blueberry plants.
We don't really need any more outside sources to make our job harder. The soil quality is everything. All I know about is farming.
New manufacturing facilities and jobs will not be coming to an ozone non-attainment area.
And this plant will 99.9% probability put us into non-attainment status.
They don't want to bring employees to an area where there's not a high quality of life. And in an ozone non-attainment area, there's not a high quality of life.
Then forces us to take pretty draconian measures to try and achieve attainment status, because it can impact federal highway funding and other programs that impact the economy of Hampton Roads. So this plant potentially could cause a lot of harm to the economy in Hampton Roads.
When people have stood up at public hearings and said things like, these opponents, they're talking about millions of tons of pollutants, that's just exaggeration. That's not my number. That's ODEC's number. That's their DEQ application that says 12,000 pounds of soot every day. 12,000 pounds of soot every day. I didn't make that up. And people will say to me, that's not true. But that is true.